Mhm.
It's automatic, so it should move around based on who's talking. Yeah, there we go. All right, we will call the meeting to order at 9:02 a.m. And we'll start with roll call. Gary, Joe, Barb, Ellie, Susan is not here, and I am here. Okay, great. Let me check to see if there's anybody on the Zoom. All right, so we have a fair number of people on the Zoom. So we'll have a couple of folks here. So we will open up for oral communications for any items not on the agenda. And as a reminder, time is limited to 2 minutes. So I don't have a visual right now of the hand raise function on Zoom. So if you would like to speak, go ahead and start talking. Okay, I will take that silence as no one is.
Good morning.
Oh,
Sorry, this is Caroline Vertongen.
okay, go ahead, Caroline.
Yeah, two things. As you remember, when we visited the Hawthorne project, we understood there was a problem with the runoff from their property into the Alpine Trail by the intersection, a little above the intersection of Alpine and Portola Road. And I also wanted to double check if you can check on the trail up above, closer to Corte Madera, and see if the runoff that was caused by the school has been repaired. And then I'm going to send pictures regarding Woodside Priory, but that's later in your agenda. So thank you.
Okay, yep, thank you. So just to recap, the Alpine Trail where Portola and Alpine intersect, as part of the Hawthorne's process, there is plans to improve the Alpine Trail. I think generally speaking, that problem there should be addressed, although we're still quite a ways away from that. On the runoff on Alpine Trail near Corte Madera School, the section between Saddleback and Indian Crossing has been filled in. I'm not sure whether the section between Alpine and Corte Madera Road has been filled in, but we can check on that. And then
thank you.
Yep. And then I think you're talking about the sections of Portola Trail that parallel the Priory that collect water is my guess. Is that right?
Well, I will talk about it. It's also what I mentioned at the last meeting. It's the Fossil Trail, or
Oh, yes.
the
Yeah, I
back
think that one
by
has
the
been
baseball
repaired.
field.
Yeah.
No, it's not. And so I will
Oh.
send you pictures, and I will send it to the Public Works as well. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, anyone else on the Zoom who would like to communicate anything not on the agenda? Okay, then we will move on to old business and approve the minutes from the previous meeting. So they are on the, you have the printout, they're on the second page.
Just have one comment,
Go ahead.
and that's a typo in my name.
Oh,
Eckstein,
oh my goodness.
ECK, STEIN.
That is totally. Is it on me? Because I kind
Finger
of
point,
copied
Joe.
your format. So I might have. Anyway, we will get that corrected. Sorry, Barb. It's correct on the. Yeah. Okay. Anything? Any other comments, corrections for the minutes? They're very succinct.
They're perfect.
Okay. Can I get a motion to approve? Hey, Ellie.
I have to
Brilliant.
abstain, I wasn't here.
Okay. All those in favor who were here? Aye. All right, so those are approved and will be submitted with that correction. Okay, moving along, we have lots of items on the agenda. Because we have Pastor Patrick here from the Priory, I would like to actually move that discussion of that project up now so that we can not make him stay here for the whole thing, unless you're welcome to stay for the whole meeting if you would like to. Yeah. So just, I want to be clear about why this is on the agenda. We are not going to vote on anything, but we are asked, the chair is asked to provide guidance, advice to new projects that may have an impact on the trail system. And so this is a big enough project that I thought it would be good to have discussion amongst the committee, and then I will send our advice, or I guess technically my advice, to the town on the project. So we included, there is a lot of information in the about the project. I don't think all of it is relevant necessarily to trails and paths, and so I just brought what I thought was at least the full picture, the one PDF that had the full picture of what would be relevant to us. So it's in our it's in the packet. I think the main thing here is there will be a new path sort of within. There's not a new trail crossing as far as I can tell. It's the same trail crossing, but there will be more traffic coming across the trail crossing that is on the I guess it would be the south entrance, the entrance that is closer to Alpine Road. And there's some guidance in here that will be warning for bicyclists. I think one of the things that we want to make sure is there will be scoring for equestrians. There is, this is a popular route on Safe Routes to School. So kids in the mornings and particularly the mornings, I'm not sure about the afternoon, are traveling the Portola Trail largely to Corona Madera School. So I think there may be some need for more warnings for drivers coming in that way. But I'll open it up to the floor. Any other comments, that people's thoughts on advice we should give for this project? Oh, Mike Mafia, you are not on mute. Did you have a comment that you wanted to?
No, I'm sorry, I sneezed.
Okay, no worries.
I apologize.
No worries.
I'll go ahead and start. So On the Gambetta Lane, entrance there, that,
Gambetta Lane, that's,
Yeah.
sorry, thank you.
you know, it's right on the map. That's how I know. It's currently, two directions of traffic there. It can go, you can go in or out that, entrance. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I guess, let's,
Oh, absolutely you can.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
yeah.
you're welcome to sit up at the microphone, please. Yeah.
Yeah, that,
and if I get anything wrong, please correct me.
Oh,
too.
no, yeah, no, so just, yeah, Gambetta Lane, we've used that, all last year and this year for our, it's one way in, in the mornings, right? So, and we've used that all last year and then this year, so there'll be no increased traffic with this, no increase in the past 2 years. That was a kind of decision we made when we were going through our kind of working with the town a few years ago, amending our conditional use permit to try and mitigate some of the challenges by the Portola Road School, the Priory School Drive entrance.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's where everything flowed. And so now everything goes in Gambetta and you kind of go out and you go out, Priory School Drive. The new area will just alleviate kind of the conflict zone in the middle of our campus where cars and kids, kind of are there. So that's kind of the main thoroughfare between our middle school and our dining hall and our dorms and our upper school. So the main area where kids are crossing is also where we have the most cars coming through. So this new road, but it doesn't impact any new traffic in
Okay.
terms of cars. There will be no new cars coming in and out.
So is there ever a time when cars would leave the Gambetta Lane?
Yeah, there could be. Yep. Better between 8:30 and 9:30, it's one way. But then after 9:30, when we just have like our residents
Okay, I got it.
leaving,
Yeah.
so that would be the place where it would go two-way. And then same thing in the afternoon, it goes one way again from like 2:30, to like 3:30.
Right. So when cars exit that lane, there's a line of sight problem. And I know because I walk that trail home from Corte Madero School often with my daughter. And if they're moving a little too quickly, they can get out into the trail before they see you there, right?
Yeah.
And so I've had a number of close calls. Our Public Works Department at Howard would have known this. There might be somebody new to talk to, but there's some line of sight standards that he used for new projects that would require a car coming out that driveway, that's called a driveway, so that they can see in both directions before they actually get to the trail crossing. And a good example would be the Willow Commons. They did this. They went through this because they have a path crossing both of their driveways. You might be able to use them for reference, if nothing else. So that improvement, I think, would go a long way to mitigating safety issues there with cars exiting. With cars going in the morning, since there'll be a large number of them, then signage, I guess, can help. There's
But
not as much.
there's no change to the current, this project doesn't change the cars going in.
Correct. Same as it's been the last.
Same as it's been. Okay, so they're just going to take a different route once they get into the property.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yes.
I understand. So, and are we having any problems with the way it's working right now?
I've-
Working okay?
I think it's actually been better. The town has said it's been better because it alleviates some of the challenges.
At the
Kind of
Brookside.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you. Then, I know that there's a new crosswalk or a crosswalk reconfiguration in the works. And we don't have anybody here from Public Works today, unfortunately, but aren't they moving that crosswalk that's near the Priory Lane? What's the name of the other driveway?
I think it's called Priory School Drive.
Priory School Drive. They're reconfiguring that, right? They're moving it. So somebody should look at that and make sure with any additional traffic flow that might be there. And it sounds like there wouldn't be more cars. It would just be maybe one direction at certain times leaving.
Right. That's right. That's right.
So we want to make sure that there's no conflicts with the way they designed that new crosswalk that they're going to put in there. I don't anticipate any, but it's just something we should look at.
Thank you.
And then my last comment would be related to the actual new athletic center. Since the trail is in a scenic corridor, it's certainly set back far enough from the road. I believe it looks like it's 32 feet from perhaps the property line. Does that sound right?
Yes.
Okay.
But it's on the other side of the track, correct? It's on the,
Right, but there are rules about how far in the scenic corridor you have to be
Oh,
from.
okay.
And conservation would be looking closer at that, I would imagine, than we would, but I'm just going to assume that it meets those rules and I won't have to talk about it, and conservation will probably double check, I would imagine. So
Teresa is our
what is the
liaison to Conservation
tallest,
Committee.
the tallest part of that building? How high is the tallest part of that building from grade on the side that faces the Portola Road? Do you know that by chance?
It's a great question. I'm not too sure, but I think I don't know who's on the call, but we might have some of our team available to answer that question.
Yeah, is there anyone from the Priory on the call that can assist?
I'm Kristen Ishii with UGD, the project architect.
Yeah, go ahead, Kristen.
Hi, yes, the roof slopes, it's low on the track side, it slopes up to the north. And the highest point is 42 feet from grade.
32?
Is it
42,
42.
right, Kristen?
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty tall. So the concern would be that, right, yes, but again, when you're looking at it, it's going to look like a straight wall, right? So having it that tall, it would obviously have an impact on the users of the trail. And the concept is that the trail users are walking through or riding through a scenic corridor. And their mitigations should be put in place so that they don't feel like they're walking or riding through a rural community or structure of, in this case, a school, without, a number of mitigation measures to screen that out. So is ASCC going to look at this? Have they weighed in? Do you know, Patrick?
They've seen the project a couple times, but we haven't had our formal ASCC hearing yet.
Okay, great. So I think what we can do is just simply make a note to ASCC that when your story poles go up, we would like to take a look at that from the trail and see what the impact's going to be from the trail. And then we would maybe suggest screening or other mitigations if there was an impact. For example, you could plant, close to the trail, a couple of trees or something like that would just break it up so that you don't. And we're not really screening experts here, but we're chartered with making sure that trails in the scenic corridor keep that rural feel to them.
The trail you're talking about is the one that goes right in front of Priory, right?
Correct.
Yeah, the Portola Road Trail, right?
Yeah,
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yes.
there's a lot of trees on that trail already.
Yeah, there's a couple places where it opens up,
Okay,
and that would be where the concern is. I think where those other trees are, it's probably going to be screened just fine.
yeah,
And the way we would take a first opinion of that is by looking at the story poles. I think ASCC will require you to put up story poles when you go to their formal review. Yeah, so as long as we know when that happens, we'll go take a look at them. We'll let you know.
This is Mike Mathia. I don't know if you can hear me, but I have,
Hear
I
you.
can just shed a little light on the mass of that building and the plan to screen some of that mass. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
So two comments, that the athletic facility was specifically broken up into two buildings to kind of break down the mass and to nestle into the landscape. But also Atlas Labs, who's the landscape designer, has plantings to soften the edges and to address your concern. I should also point out that EHCD is kind of a pioneer in designing buildings with the natural landscape. The founder of the firm, not only started the environmental design school at Berkeley, but did projects like Sea Ranch and also, I believe was involved in the ranch here in Portola Valley. So softening that building and making sure that it blends with our natural surroundings is very important and part of our design.
Great.
Great,
you.
yeah, thank you, Mike. And Mike, your firm is the project managers or the general contractors?
To be clear, Mike is a board member of Prior.
Oh, he's a board member.
He's also a parent and a Portola Valley resident.
Yeah, I've met Mike, and he's also in the construction business, I think he's.
No, I'm an investor developer.
Yeah, okay, great. So thank you for those comments, Mike. That's exactly what we would be looking for, is what mitigations are put in place, since there is some significant massing there. When the story poles go up, it'll give us a good idea of what we're going to see, and then we can look at elevation drawings and things like that. And likely what our output would just be a note to the ASCC that, hey, at these portions of the trails, make sure that there's adequate screening so that we still feel like we're walking through a scenic corridor. And I think that would be it.
And regarding elevations, the elevations for the building have been submitted to staff and actually should be in your package.
Okay, great. Yeah, it's going to matter where there's holes in the trees that exist as to what angles we would want to look at. So that's great that they're there, but we'll still want to identify those areas and then try to find them on the plans. And
Understood.
thank you, though. Otherwise, I don't have any other questions.
Can I just ask a question, Ellie here? There was some talk in the packet here about raising the level of the entrance to the Gambetta Trail, the Gambetta Road. That doesn't impact the trail at all, right? That's on your property?
Yeah,
Raising the elevation?
Right now, if you travel that road, there's a large dip down the street, which is problematic for both the trail and for pedestrians and vehicles as well. That road will be raised approximately 2 feet, and the trail will be further feathered to ensure that the current grade that's there today will be match up to the new grades. So actually, there will be some trail improvement done, because right now, even to this day, the trail as it raises to the current elevation of the road is more steep than it should be. And so it is our intent to feather what I would consider feather, which is not a technical term, but regrade the trail to ensure that it's maintained for equestrians, for the trail bikes, and for trail pedestrians.
So you would lower it in essence?
No, actually, everything would come up in grade.
Yeah, the way that that trail goes, if you're going towards Portola Road today, as you approach it, there's a steep incline.
That's correct.
Then you're on the road, and then there's another little bump up. So I think basically what you would do is it's kind of like steps today, and then what you're talking about is more smoothing it out. Like it's more like a ramp.
Yes.
Yeah. And would you mind introducing yourself?
All right, my
That's okay.
apologies. I'm having some medical with one of my kids. My name is Josh Portner. I am I'm a Portola Valley resident. I live at 333 Canyon Drive. And Priory has retained me. I'm also a real estate developer and consultant, and they've retained me as their owner's rep project manager.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say, just when we were talking about that trail, so when you feather it down, it's not going to be like a nice ramp that when the kids go up, they just fly down the other side, right?
That's correct. So- And in fact, in the proposed drawings, there's actually some additional signage that is not there today, both on the road and the trail, to further protect the interaction between both parties.
Yeah, and pedestrians, because we all know that gets a little narrow in that tunnel where the trees are, and if anybody comes, down that, yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you.
And so both staff and consultant and town consultants have identified that previously, and our design does add certain, like, as I mentioned, certain best management practices, I call them, for design to add additional things to that area.
Okay, thank you.
And just a point on signage. So while it is obvious, it should be helpful. When you place a sign along a trail, you actually have to consider that the horses are going through there, and that's a pretty narrow area. So the placement of those signs will kind of be critical. Public Works would normally help with that, but maybe we can get involved and just review that. Is that on the plans also already?
It is on the plan.
Okay.
And we'd welcome you to review.
So we'll take a look at that.
I will admit that both my sons are horseback riders, so we will definitely take that into account.
Yeah, it's just the way it is. You need a little bit of room there, especially along an intersection because a horse may have to turn around or do something, and we don't want them bumping into the signs and, okay.
Yeah, the approximate placement is on page 2 of the traffic memo that I included.
That's correct. But if you want more detail, they're within the civil drawings as well.
That-
For some reason,
that
my
PDF.
timing is very poor today. I haven't been able to get in there yet. I'm usually first.
Go, Joe.
Everybody beats me. My name is Joe Coleman. Hi. Turns out that all 4 of us are equestrians and we ride that trail. I'll say frequently. It's a common trail to ride. When we use the word, the first thing we look at when we see plans is scoring. How are the horses going to do on the new asphalt? And I thought, yeah, we got to score that. But then I thought, well, the Priory Lane isn't scored, but it's safe still. But we just want to make sure that there's not paint is really the biggest problem so that the horses are able to get good grounding. That was my biggest concern.
Right now in the drawing, there isn't an intent to paint or stripe. It's also not, the town staff isn't requiring any sort of additional traffic stop signs or crossings, which would be painted on the ground. I would, if that's something you want to further recommend, we'd encourage it. We don't necessarily need it. The traffic engineer has not identified it as being necessary. So coming from the 4 of you.
No, let me just clarify. There's not a desire for any paint or markings. What we typically advise is to do some scoring on the pavement so that horses get some traction. So there's what can happen is a very newly paved surface is actually quite slippery for horses. And particularly if you're going uphill or coming down, you don't want the horses to slip. So there's lots of examples around town of where this is done. I think it's fairly straightforward for how to do it. And that would be the recommendation, not any sort of painting.
Yeah, and so that's what I was getting. If you guys would make that recommendation, that way when we discuss it with town staff, we have some, it's not coming from us.
Yep.
per se.
Yeah, this would not be unexpected for town staff to know about this. And it would be great if you just noted on your plan scoring. You don't have to provide a detail. I think just simply note that it will be scored. And then when it comes time to do it, most contractors that have worked in town, like Brigado Paving and other ones, know how to do this. There's also a machine that you can rent. The town has rented it before that can easily do the job. So there's lots of resources there to help you when it comes time to do it. But we would recommend doing that because it's really the safest way to ensure you're not going to have problems. And even as Fred pointed out, when on new pavement, even if there's no paint, if it rains and you have a horse with iron shoes, you probably know this, it can be very slippery. So we just don't want to have any accidents. And I know you don't want to have accidents either. So it's a simple step to take that will really minimize that kind of thing.
Okay. Any comments from folks who are on the Zoom? Okay.
This is Caroline Vertonghen.
Okay, go ahead, Caroline.
Okay, great. Mr. Huff, we would like to invite you to the Bike, Pedestrian, and Traffic Safety Committee. We have not seen these plans. We have heard the complaints from residents and concerns over the last 2 years or a year and a half since the master plan was approved. And I walked that trail several times during the week and even today, this morning. You know, your trucks go into the main entrance. They don't go through Gambetta. There's all kinds of issues. And I hope you will present it to the PPTS because we have been trying to deal with those problems, those 2 entrances, for a very long time, and we would like to find a solution. As you might have heard, I also had a concern about the trail, which is behind Coleman Fields. I believe that's a service road that you guys use. And yes, they put some gravel there, but it's very uneven. And I will send pictures to PV Works and to the Trail Committee because this is an official trail, town trail. And perhaps I will send them to you as well, and perhaps we can find a solution for that too. So thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn. All right, anyone else? Okay, great. We'll close this item. Thank you for attending the meeting. You're welcome to stay for the rest, but you also are welcome to
I
head out.
want to add on Carolyn's deal. Are you guys involved with those vehicles that are behind the tennis courts, behind the baseball field? The raised tennis courts behind the field?
Yeah, yes.
Okay, there's a road and vehicles ride from the tennis courts where there's work being done, and it comes down to that big substation.
The
at-
sewer,
at
sewer pump.
at
Yeah.
the sewer pump. That, are you familiar with the road that I'm referring to? It's in the, it'd be the baseball fields, right field, behind the, okay, on that road. Well, the last time it was only a couple weeks ago, and I rode my horse down there. A truck was coming. Had to be going 25 miles an hour. It should have been going 5 miles an hour. And so we just had to shoot over to the side, and I couldn't believe it. So I rode up there and I tried to talk to the guys, but they all left. So I didn't get anywhere with them.
I believe that road may be off Priory property. We can definitely check
Yeah.
into it.
I don't know, yeah.
One of ours will remind any contractors or.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe one of the other pieces of advice that you'll hear in our advice is just around worker behavior and making sure workers don't park on existing trails. That's a problem that we frequently encounter. Well, they will park their vehicles and block trails. We don't, that's not acceptable. And then just sort of, yeah, the general like taking care as you're driving around trails. So we can follow up on this specific one. I don't think it's actually related to this project, but that is a general piece of advice you'll hear from us in the.
Yeah. that's-
Just quickly in response, we do have a construction management plan that was submitted to, as part of the submission. Please feel free to read it. It
Yep.
does address those concerns in regards to construction worker and general public safety.
Okay, now we will close the item. Thank you very much. Really appreciate you coming. And okay, we will go, let's go back to the top of the old business agenda, to the town hike. Let's see, Susan, welcome. We'll note that you were 30 minutes now. Let's see here. Town hike, I don't expect that there's any, I just have this as in case there's any updates, anything we need to discuss.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Joe, posited 2 dates, November the 2nd and November the 9th. And I think that and I think he was also in touch with Constantine. I think it's important that we decide at the meeting what day it's going to be. So,
Okay.
so we're not holding both days open just in case, right? And maybe we should wait for Joe.
Yeah,
to-
we can wait for Joe. Joe.
To come back.
Yeah, okay, let's go to item C, trail maintenance review. We don't have anyone from the town here. I don't think we don't have Scott or Jim on the line.
Do we even have a director of public works yet? Can somebody enlighten me?
Well, Jim's the interim town engineer.
Jim?
Jim Sandoval is, so if you look at the memo from the town, they've attached the work, total hours worked 10, mostly clearing trees. There's some work on Saddleback to Portola. They repaired the rut at the west end of the Shady Trail. I think one of the things that has been flagged to me is there seems to have been some maintenance on the old Spanish Trail that maybe
Well, there's a-
unsolicited.
there was a tree down.
There was a tree down. There was a large tree down that was cleared as of yesterday.
It's been removed.
But there are a lot of other just branches that were trimmed. Does anyone know?
I know the ranch did some work on Sweet Springs Trail related to,
The folks in the ranch don't, the ranch committee that's in charge of this it has asked about this because they have not done any of this maintenance.
Are they asking?
but I
has
saw a note from them that they were closing the trail. This was on the forum, I believe.
On Sweet Springs, yes.
On Sweet
But this
Springs.
is Old Spanish in particular.
So
There's-
they didn't do that on any other trail. It was just Sweet
Correct.
Springs. Okay,
Just
just want to
Sweet
make sure because they were obviously doing some work, right?
Yeah,
So
so.
what-
it
what
was-
did
it-
they- oh, I'm sorry.
It was raised to me, so this is on Old Spanish Trail. It was raised to me that someone seems to have gone in and sort of indiscriminately cut branches that may have been overhanging the trail. So wanted to see if anyone on our committee knew anything about that.
Well,
It's-
I was up there 2 days ago, and it could be that they were hanging over the trail.
Yeah, and someone just,
Hanging on horses' head, on people who were riding.
yeah.
So,
It looked similar to what I understand to have happened on the West Ridge Trail, what it was, Escobar in June, or on Memorial Day, I think it was, something like that. Someone came in and made some cuts,
Do you know how large diameter the branches were?
about inch and a half.
So it can be done with hand
Yeah,
on
tools.
Escobar.
yeah,
isn't it?
would
So
not have
it's-
required.
It's not unusual for equestrians to carry, we used to do it,
Right.
to
I
carry
mean,
hand shears.
Handsaw?
We're
And
not
if- and if
supposed
it's-
to
If it's in
do it.
our face, we just
Right.
clip it because we're already up that high.
Yeah.
If it's
So I
on
do that on
people-
Shady all the time.
Yeah.
So what is the, because I was up there yesterday, if I may say so. we
As
removed-
was
we
I.
removed that tree because somebody has called into PV Connect and it's not supported. Is there some problem with it? Have they discontinued it?
No, I've had.
That it was not supported. What does that mean?
Oh, I've gotten, I've had them still
In the
support.
last couple of days?
Not in the last couple of days, but
Yeah,
they've been responsive to things that I've reported. We can double check.
okay.
Yeah.
Because those branches that I was up there yesterday that have been cut, I mean, there were a lot of them were hanging over the trail
Yeah, I
from
think
what I
that-
remember.
The
So
the concern was that there were a couple of trees that were cut that it seemed unnecessary to cut. So I'm just trying to get to the
No.
bottom of.
So that wouldn't be equestrians. Equestrians would only cut ones that you could reach from your
Yeah.
horse because they're not going to get off their horse to do anything. So when you're up, you're up 4 or 5 feet plus what your arm can reach.
Yeah.
That's really about what we would do. An inch and a half even is kind of pretty big for what we would do.
Yeah,
Just-
I don't think you can do it with hand clippers. I think you need to have sort of a
Sort
small
of
hand saw,
some
and it looked like
version.
they were actually sawed.
Okay, then that wasn't a question.
So,
Well, it
Okay.
would be nice if we had some pictures because we're all just speculating.
Yeah, no, I mean, I saw them and I thought I thought someone was helping with sort of fire mitigation or something, but, so I'm just trying to figure out, since it wasn't on here, trying to understand what happened.
It'd be strange that people would just randomly go somewhere and start trimming branches. I don't know.
That's it. It seems,
I
it
would say
seems
it's to do
rather,
with the question.
Yeah.
That are hanging, and that trail was pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions about the maintenance from the sound?
So, now's the time of year where they would start cleaning water bars. So
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised to see that they haven't started that yet.
But who is doing it? It's only Scott, isn't
I
it?
don't have anybody that.
Well, Justin, what about Justin?
well, I think the point is, let's ask.
Let's ask.
Yep.
Because if they don't get to that and it gets,
Yeah, they've got about a month.
they've got about a month.
Well, and to that end too, you bring up Shady often because we live near there. Shady, if we get another winter, we haven't done the real work we need to do on that trail.
Right.
True.
So maybe
drainage
there's
is
a
a
way to
problem.
do some drainage before winter so that at least that one area that gets wiped out so much doesn't get wiped out.
Okay. I will send both of those items.
This may be something they have to refer out, eh? I don't know if in staff can do it.
And also, Gary, you mentioned something about Sweet Springs Trail. Can you fill me in on that? Because,
I can
Fred,
give an
maybe,
update on
yeah.
that. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
there's fire mitigation work happening on Sweet Springs,
Okay.
clearing brush
Mhm.
around it. I think roughly starting on Saddleback down to probably getting close to where it connects to Valley Oak.
okay,
That's my understanding. They were doing it. It was maybe just last week, or is it?
It was
there's-
recent.
Yeah, it was recently. There's a post on the forum that says, there may be interruption to using it because there'll be work up there, but it's just fire mitigation work.
okay, because we've used that trail in the past for a town hike. We've met at Triangle Park and
Mhm.
I think we've walked on Sweet Springs, and that can be a lovely walk. So I just thought I would inquire about that.
Yeah, it's, I think it's just part of the ranch fire mitigation work that's being done, Coal Mine Ridge on other ranch. fires.
Okay.
So, we should probably just make the point that if they're going to close the trail, they should inform Trails and Paths Committee. I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe they did. And then we would get that out on the town website. Public Works would also probably take a look at the work that they're going to do, if the work is done in the trail easement.
Yeah.
So I know that might be difficult to get done right now, but if, it's not just the ranch, it's any organization like what happened in Westridge, they start, randomly closing trails. It's not the preferred way of doing it. The Trails and Paths Committee should be notified, then coordinated with the town. And the town should be reviewing the work. And the reason why we do that is, if you remember what happened on the Sequoias Trail, when they went in and just decimated it, right? So that's why I think the town wants to review things related to fire mitigation.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, they may have considered, yeah. go ahead,
I
Teresa.
was asked to follow up on the FEMA funding work that was allegedly going to be done on Shady Trail. Given Howard's departure from the town, I was asked to follow up what the status of that work is as we are rapidly approaching winter.
So I don't think anyone here has an understanding of the status. I don't know, Sarah, if you're on, if you know anything about that. Well, we can follow up. I mean, it's related to the drainage comment on Shady Trail. And yes, I can follow up on the Sweet Springs. I mean, obviously I knew about it, so I don't know if that qualifies as a notification for the Trails Committee. So maybe I missed a step in the process there. But the Sequoias example is a really good one because, yeah, that kind of clearing was unfortunate.
Sorry for the interruption. I
Oh,
was having a hard time
Go ahead,
finding
Sarah.
my Zoom screen here. So no, I don't have an update on that to answer your question.
Okay. We'll follow up. Anything else on trail maintenance? So I have, just to recap, sending the town request to get water bar clearing started, the drainage plus FEMA project on the Shady Trail, and then double checking on process for how landowners are doing fire mitigation, like is being done on Sweet Springs Trail, to make sure that there's proper review of the work being done.
Just a notice here, a homeowner on Willowbrook at 220 had slurry sealed over their driveway. They put in a new driveway, left it fine for scoring, and then somebody came and slurry sealed it. Anyway, they've corrected it. And they also, so I sent a thank you card to them, the old fashioned way.
Good. Okay. Yeah, I've run across that. I've noticed the change because there was a sign up that said it was slippery for horses, which
Yeah,
I
actually-
suspect maybe was your doing.
Well, they don't. But the town enforcer said that they also had done something else. They had extended the driveway. So they had to remove the asphalt and put the dirt there, but that was nothing to do with.
This does remind me, there is a sign on Eagle Trail now that says it is,
Yeah, yes, I put that up because it was very bad, but
okay.
I did go through with some help and just kind of cleared because it was very overgrown.
Yes.
So it was pushing people. Now it's actually a little wider, but it's still pretty narrow, but I removed those signs.
Okay.
But I
all
did
right.
put them up because it was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And Howard hadn't got around to clearing it, so we just went through and cleared it a bit.
Makes sense. Okay. All right, we will close trail maintenance review. We're gonna come back to town hike, Joe. Susan flagged that you're considering November 2nd or November 9th for the dates. And requested that we have an opinion here. I don't know if we need to do a formal vote. My recollection has always been November.
We usually do November, but I mean, we could always break with tradition one day.
I've been in touch with Constantine and got about 10 maps of the trails that they've done their hikes on. They're all less than 3 miles. And they're fantastic. There's a couple of them that would be perfect for us. Even one or maybe 2 of them, we actually start from town center and go that way.
Oh, nice.
And that would be really cool.
Yeah, go out.
Just
uh,
contact with all the people that he has.
You mean like up in up in Larry Lane, up there on the,
Well, no, there was that one also.
because
But
that
no,
is sort
it
of
was,
uphill.
yeah, I know. I saw, yeah, because of the steep side, Larry Lane probably isn't appropriate. But this is more over by
Farm Road.
Farm Road, yeah.
Farm Road, yeah.
Yep.
So like a 2-town hike.
So
Plus there's also, yeah, well, that's,
Yeah,
there's that
technically
too.
it's.
But then over by Shady Trail in that area, there was a really good loop that was considered.
So I'd just like to add, I think for a town hike, since it's so much about community, I think it's really important to pick a place where we can wind up with a snack. You know, that kind of thing. So I know people like to socialize at the end. So I think that's something to bear in mind. I know that in past times we've gone, we've stopped and started at Triangle Park. Or Town Center would be fine. I'm trying to understand what trails we would take from here.
I'll get back to you on that one.
The loop that you would do is you go town center, you go down Farm Road, go down Trail Lane, take P Picker, or go by Mary's house,
Oh,
come back
okay.
McClatchy, and then
Yeah.
come back West
That's right.
Ridge.
Yeah, possible.
Okay, it's
Mhm.
just
Yeah, that's right.
that's paved, right?
Farm is paved.
Okay, just
Yeah,
curious.
Farm is paved.
What about anything happening at Neely Winery? There was talk of ending up there.
Oh, yeah, we could end,
With their permission.
talking to Lucy. You talking to
Is
Lucy?
anybody?
I haven't.
Ending up at,
So, a couple of years ago, a year and a half, I can't even remember when it was now. But, I had actually asked whether they might be interested in, starting a hike there, a town hike.
Yeah.
And the concern was that they're only open a limited number of days. So we would have to work that out with the town, that would be a day, they would get another day someplace or something. But, I think Alex had contacted Lucy before he left.
okay.
So I don't know, Lucy.
Does
Neal.
anybody know her?
I know Lucy.
Yeah, so that's another potential option to
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
And the only other thing I was gonna say, have you looked at the town calendar for the 2nd and 9th? To
No,
make
that's,
sure there's no
that'd be my next step.
conflicts?
I presume, and I'm not sure how to do it. Who's the best person here to say, this is what you do to get a date?
Well, you have to call and I
If-
don't
if
know
you-
who's,
If
They
you
don't, they don't seem to be open very
If,
much.
if you don't
With-
have to, if
online.
you're not reserving a town facility, I think you can pick whatever date, because we're not gonna reserve the schoolhouse or any of the rooms there. So I think you can pick the date that works.
you just don't want to overlap if there's another
Right,
event
yeah,
going on, even like the PV Arts Fair or something like
Yes.
that.
Or
So
Zots
that's
to
the
Gods or
reason
something.
why.
Yeah,
And it's
definitely.
not often posted on town calendar right now.
Yeah.
So,
If I can interject, one suggestion would be to reach out to Carrie Chin if you want to confirm that there's no significant conflicts.
Good.
Thank you, Sarah.
Is she still here? Good to know.
Okay. I think we'll defer to, our subcommittee here to
Yeah.
pick the date and to pick the route.
Okay.
So that's the goodness of having the subcommittee. Anything else on town hike? Okay, so let's see. Hawthorne Subcommittee, I don't have any news. I know there was a meeting, I believe it was on was it Monday or
I
yesterday?
Think so.
There was one at 1 PM. I was not able to attend. I think it was, so we can look into that, but I don't have any updates from my own on
Yeah.
anything. Susan and I are the subcommittee, the Hawthorne Subcommittee.
Maybe just a quick question. What do you think the odds are they'll make those other connections into the ranch? I know that it's kind of like a plan B or a
Yeah, so,
second option, whatever they call it.
the vote from the Public Access Working Group did two things that are kind of confusing. There was overall positive sentiment on making the connections. The connections kind of up at the top. There was not support for the one lower down, which we didn't support. I think it was number 15. The other ones were 16 and 17. But then there was also a vote on whether there should be a phased approach to bringing them in, and there's some sort of study. I think the challenge is that there's no specification exactly on what is going to be studied. And so that seems very underspecified. And so I think that as that project wraps up and seeks a conditional use permit, we'll have to actually ask questions about, well, what exactly is going to be studied? What are the criteria that are going to be used to make a decision? Because right now it just seems kind of like they're trying to punt on the connection, even though there is support for the connection. So
So the working group has been disbanded, right? So
I
that,
think its work is completed, yeah.
so I would imagine now as the Trails and Paths Committee, we could weigh in on things, right? We don't have, right, we could, so maybe we should consider, maybe the subcommittee can consider writing a letter in support of either truly phasing them in or just completing the connections as recommended with full support of the committee. And if you need us to take a vote on that, agendize it at the next
Yeah.
meeting, we can take a vote on it.
Yeah.
But I think those connections are really important.
Yep.
And I've heard the arguments and I understand where a lot of people are coming from, but still it's, I think net a win if it's done.
Yeah, and I also think it's thinking further ahead. One of the other things that the Public Access Working Group did support was augmenting the Los Trancos Trail, because we all know kind of the sort of unfortunate geography that breaks up the Los Trancos Trail, because the county line is right there, and then it reappears a little bit later. That trail would alleviate, you could get Los Trancos and come on in and then connect back through it from Sweet Spring, or I guess it would technically be Deer Path at that point. So yeah, I think I think we could maybe put together a letter on this. I think the key thing is if you're going to have a plan to phase something in, let's be specific about, well, what are the criteria that you're going to use to decide when and how to phase it in, rather than just having it be the vague notion of phasing.
I agree.
But regarding usage, Los Trancos allows dogs on leash, but the ranch doesn't. So how are you going to hook up their trail with the ranch trails?
That's an interesting question. Yeah.
You check your dog at the.
Anyway, that's
Yeah.
just
Brad?
something that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, just one thing to highlight, if you guys are interested and not aware, is that MidPenn is going to be coming for a study session to the council. I believe it's the first council meeting in October, which would be October 9th. And so that would be, if the Trails Committee has, further feedback that they'd like to provide to the process, that would be a great opportunity to do that.
Okay, that's excellent. Thank you. Okay. Great. We have anything, I think we can close Hawthorne's. The new business committee applications, I probably should have this as old as we have two applications. I know folks have sent around or have seen one. I will send around the other one, and then I will get on the agenda. Sarah, is our next town council meeting where we could actually add people to the committee? Is it the October one on the 9th?
It depends. You'd need to get, the next meeting is September 25th, but you'd need to get that in tomorrow.
Okay.
So if you can get that in, let me know, because I'd want to, that's not on the roll forward right now, but if it's a simple thing to do, we could get it for the 25th. If not, yes, the 9th.
Okay. I know that there is one candidate who has been, there's broad support for, and we'll just make sure that we evaluate the other candidate, I think, quickly and try to get them both added to the agenda for the 25th, or basically trying to get them to.
So the
tomorrow.
25th would be, we would need to know tomorrow. We would need
Okay.
to have,
So given there's only 2 seats, or 2 applicants for 3 seats, I don't think we have any discretion to say no.
Okay.
So I think now it's really between you and Sarah.
Okay.
So if you and Sarah are inclined to appoint these folks, then you can go right ahead and do so
Okay.
by, give her the thumbs up by tomorrow. That's up to you. We would only interview if we had like 3 applicants for 1 seat.
Okay,
And that's really not even an interview. It's more of the protocol is a meet and greet where we can ask questions. That's it.
I will add that I remember times that we have said no to somebody because the person wasn't going to join the committee because of to help us, but really for his own resume. And he wasn't a resident of Portola Valley. So those little details have to obviously be addressed if they're not already.
yeah, yeah. I believe you have to be a resident of the town. I think there's some process for exception. if
There's a
you're-
process for an exception. It's,
It's
it wouldn't-
fortunately, I don't
yeah.
think relevant in either.
but I
of the
think both
cases.
applicants are residents. So I don't think we have to worry about it.
Okay. Anything else? I guess we don't have any other agenda
I guess,
items.
sorry, guys,
Go-
I'd love clarity just so I can give staff the heads up, because this would be.
I will
minute,
send
so-
you, I will recommend both of these people to the committee. I will send you a note today.
Okay, so you'll prepare a memo for the consent agenda
Yes.
for the council?
Yep.
Okay, thanks, Fred.
Yep.
So one other new business item I just want to bring to the attention of the committee is to the rescheduling of the meeting with Stanford. I would like to propose that the 3 chairs that are involved in the joint meeting get together with town staff to craft the agenda. And this time, hopefully include all the comments that we previously submitted on the project to be part of the staff report.
So I just
And-
want to interject a little bit here, Gary, and just be careful about discussing this item. It's not on your agenda to discuss amongst the committee for today. And we need to
I'm
be
not
very
discussing the
careful about
project, Sarah. I'm
us being
discussing a forward going meeting, so I'm not discussing the project at all. This is just the format of a meeting to be held. We discuss that in new business all the time. But I'm not going to discuss any elements of the project itself. But I appreciate the observation.
Okay. I have noted that, and we'll follow up with the staff. Okay, anything else before? Go ahead, Susan.
Just really quickly, the town picnic this coming Saturday.
Oh, yes, we have,
Am I it?
we have a table at the town picnic this Saturday. Susan might be, I will be, I am in charge of the carnival for the Cub Scouts.
Oh, my
Cub
goodness,
Scout
wow.
Den is running the carnival, so you're welcome to come check that out.
Wow.
But yeah, I will get you maps. I don't know if we have signage for.
We might have some, related to, we have some town council sign or town committee signs relating to the horse fair. Maybe we
Okay.
want to put one of those up too.
That would be great. I mean,
And I
anything
might
that-
have an old hike map as well, an hike banner
Yeah, so
from
let's,
our previous hikes, because
Oh, okay.
and I'll do your banner this year too, because I always do the banners. So we could maybe have both of those there to highlight the 2 events that we put on.
So would you bring them to the picnic or would I go to your house or how?
could we maybe just
Yeah,
pause
we can
this part
talk
of,
after.
you guys can
Yeah.
talk after?
Okay.
Or highlight for anyone who's joining, please come to the town picnic. Tots is also happening. So if you need to travel on Portola Road or Alpine Road on Saturday, please check the closure. I think it closes at 9:30, 9:45, and then opens up shortly thereafter. But yeah, we will have some folks there. Come meet the Trails Committee. Those who are
I'll be there with 3 kids in tow.
all right, awesome. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right,
A second.
second. All right, we are adjourned at 9:59 a.m.
So what time do I want to be there at the town picnic? At the table?